Hello everyone, welcome back to another video from Asher Brothers Outdoors. Welcome to our channel. If you're not subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. For all those returning, thank you very much for your support. So, if you'd like to support our channel in any way, please support our sponsors. The first is Shady Creek Lures, based out of Utah. They make a wide variety of different fishing lures for all different kinds of fish, so definitely go check them out at shadycreeklures.com. Their website is down right now, but just keep your eye open. It will be back up soon. And all the sponsors' contact information will be in the description, so definitely go look there if you have any questions. The next is Predator Perfect. It is also based out of Utah, and it's owned by the same owner from Shady Creek Lures. They make mainly raccoon lures, a bunch of different raccoon lures, but they also have some that are for beaver, muskrat, bobcat, and whatnot. Their baits are also for coyote and fox, so they've got a wide variety of different stuff. You can check them out under their business name, Predator Perfect, on Facebook. The second one, actually the third one, is Young's Bait and Lure Company, based out of Maine. As you can see by their logo, they've only been around since 2020, but they've been making their lure for much longer than that. You can check them out at Young's Bait and Lure Company on Facebook, and you'll be able to see there all the amazing results they've had from their lures. So their stuff is mainly for coyote, bobcat, fox. They make mainly predator lures, so definitely give them a try out. The next is Duke Traps, owned by Bill Duke out of Mississippi. Their traps are carried by most major trapping suppliers, and they're what we got started trapping on. We've used them every season since we've been started trapping. We like them. So definitely go check them out at duketraps.com or just about any major trapping retailer. They make long springs, coil springs, dog-proof raccoon traps, conibears, and they also make some wire stretchers. So definitely give them a try out. The next is Wolf Creek Products. They are based out of Ohio and are owned by Glenn Witchey. They are a very economical trap. They are good traps, but he's able to keep the price low on them. So if you want to, they're good for anybody, whether you're a seasoned pro or a beginner. But it'd be definitely good for a beginner because you won't have to spend much money. They make everything from number 1s to number 3s. And they have the dogless style traps and the dog-on style traps. They're all coil springs. He also makes some body grip traps, conibears, whichever you care to call them, and dog-proof raccoon traps. They make both the Diablo and the Alcatraz dog-proof. So if you want just about any kind of animal you care to trap, they've got the traps for it. They are the original inventors of the Wolf Fang Earth Anchor, and they also make shock springs, and he has a couple DVDs out, one on raccoon trapping and one on predator trapping, so you can check them out at wolfcreekproducts.net. So I won't keep you any longer, let's get right to this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to Asher Brothers Outdoors, and welcome to episode number 3 of Saturday Fur Trapping Hour. We have a very special guest with us today. He is based out of Maine, and he was the second person to sponsor our channel, so I'm going to turn over to him and let him introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Joe Young. As Anthony said, I'm from Maine, owner of Young's Bait and Lure Co. Just got started here in 2020. I've been doing stuff here on my own line for a while, and with my father and grandfather, and kind of messing around, making baits and lures with them, and it kind of took off on my own a little bit.
So, how long have you been trapping?
Well, my trapping started when I was a little kid, just going with my father. My father started when he was in junior high. He self-taught, just got into it on his own, and so obviously being around that, his whole life, he got his father into it, my grandfather, and so then me growing up, I was going with him and my grandfather all the time, and I played a lot of sports, so I never really ran my own line. But I'd go with my father and grandfather. I did a lot of muskrat trapping with my dad when I was a kid. A lot of muskrat trapping. We had an area right close
So how old were you when you made your very first catch?
But I made my, well, geez, I was setting muskrat traps when I was a kid, so I'd say probably 7, 8, 9, 10, setting little, number one jump traps on, floats, catching muskrats. But as far as canines, geez, I'd say I didn't catch my own canine, set trap on my own line until, geez, I was in my 20s.
Oh, wow. So,
Yep.
have you been just pedaling around making bait and lure all your life?
Yeah, it like I said, it started out, going with my father and grandfather, and I kind of just gained interest in, these different smells. And obviously, as a kid, you think everything smells horrible, but I thought it was just awesome how you could take these smells and catch what you're trying to get. You know what I mean? Catch what you're going after, and just started playing around. I play around and go with my father. We'd set a couple. Use my stuff on a couple sets here and there, and then there's a bait that my grandfather started messing around. He got concocting, throwing stuff together, and it's only a couple ingredients, and man, does it hammer some canines and lynx. Of course, in Maine we can't keep lynx, so we've got to release them. But there's a bait that he made, and I'm working on producing that. That's going to be one coming out here probably mid-season. I don't think I'll have it ready for the beginning of the season, but it'll be mid-season. And that's got hundreds and hundreds of canines to its name. That's for sure.
Wow. So, what made you decide to make the jump and to start selling your bait and lure to the public?
Just another way of getting into trapping when when my season's over. We get to trap from the end of October through the end of December, and so after that, I'm still, I love trapping. I want to still be right part of it, and so I got mixing and all that, and it's just another way for me to stay in the game when I can't physically get out and trap. And making stuff on my own and then catching stuff with it is one of the most satisfying things that I've ever experienced. And so then once I started, mixing some stuff up and getting it out to a few guys around the country, and they started sending me pictures of stuff that they were catching with it, man, I tell you, that's almost more exciting than actually catching something yourself, is hearing somebody else having success on something that you made. And getting that excitement and just that feeling, and like I said before, just another way to stay in trapping. I really love trapping, and so when I can't physically be out doing it and running my line, then I'd like to be mixing and trying different things out and seeing what I can come up with.
Yes, sir. So, do you have a specific kind of trap you run on your predator trap line, or do you just use a mix of different traps?
There's a few different types that I use. I am an MB guy. I like MB 550s and 450s. I use 450s if I'm setting, specific spots. If I'm going for a red or a gray, then I'll use the 450s. Not that they won't hold the canine or a coyote. I think they got all the holding power to hold the coyote. But it's just, my personal preference. And then, as I said, I really like the 550s. But the past couple of years, I've come on to these No BS Canine Extreme Juniors. And I don't know if you've ever held one of those in your hands, but boy, I'll tell you, that is one solid trap. And they bed real easy, square jaw trap, and I really like them. I actually got another dozen, so I'll be running some more of those on my line for this coming season.
So do you run a lot of coon traps?
I really don't. We've got coon here in Maine, not a ton up north, but down in the southern part of the state where I run my own line, we've got quite a few. I actually release a lot. There's not a lot of value to them, and believe me, I'm not in trapping to make money at all. I would do it if fur wasn't worth anything, but it's just coons aren't one of my favorite things to go for. And we catch a decent amount, but like I said, if it's not 2X, 3XL coon, then I'm usually releasing it.
Yes, sir. So what would you say you trap the most?
I'd say canines. Fox and coyotes. That's what I really like going after the most. Every other year, we go after marten and fisher, and of course you can do it every year, but we just, the way, my father and grandfather doing this for as long as they did it, they, kind of figured out that every other year, the marten and fisher catch isn't as good. And they relate that to a fruit year, meaning, a lot of nuts. And so when it's one of those years, the marten and fisher just don't really come to bait as well. They're not coming into your boxes. We have to use a box that's it's called a lynx exclusion device, so we can't catch a lynx in a conibear killer trap when we're targeting marten and fisher. But so when we're going for marten and fisher, geez, that's a lot of fun. We're up there doing it up in the northern part of the state, mostly by snowmobile. You're checking the line by snowmobile, and it's a lot of fun. But other than that, definitely fox and coyotes. That's what I like to go after the most, and that's what I get the most enjoyment after when I make a catch.
So I've heard of a lot of people doing bear trapping up there in Maine. You ever done any of that?
This was my first year actually putting out a bear trap, running a little bit of a bait site, and putting the bear trap out. We had a decent bear on camera early, but then what happened was it just stayed warm, and the bears kept roaming, and he never came back to the bait for me. I think the first time he came, he didn't necessarily like what was there, but and so he just moved on, and we could never quite pull him back in. And but this coming season, I'm thinking I might go at it a little bit harder. I've got another spot we've got a couple bears that never even end up over the winter. They were out roaming all winter long, and so I know they're right there close, and so that's the extent of my bear hunting, or bear trapping rather. But it's a big thing up here. I know that it's pretty regulated thing, and in the northern part of the state, there's guide services that run leased land and all that for their bait sites, and so it's a pretty big deal, especially in the northern part of the state.
So do you use the foot snare bear traps?
Yep. It's there's a bunch of different makes. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Critter Dun.
Yes, sir.
It's basically a big DP. And so me and a couple guys in my local trapping club actually figured out a way to basically produce that a lot cheaper. And so I had one of my buddies make one up for me, and then go and you just buy the cable restraint and all that. But the actual tube itself was made by another Maine trapper.
So do you have a prediction for the fur market?
Well, I know that as far as the people that haven't sold their fur or just put their fur in for, shipping out for some of these, auctions that we're supposed to go on, I'm sorry for those guys, because it looks like it's kind of tanking here. For the guys that sold their fur early, or shipped their fur early, and got it into some, in an auction or a sale, like myself, probably, we did pretty well. The early season prices were great, but as far as what's going to go on, and because of this whole coronavirus and all that, it's really hurting it. I do think it will bounce back like anything, but it's just it's one of those things where the market wasn't that great to begin with, other than coyotes. And then when you take a hit like this, it definitely makes it a lot worse, especially for some of these guys that do count on some of the money that they make during trapping season. But I think it'll come back. I do.
So where do you sell your furs?
I actually brought my furs to it's a local buyer, but he is a buyer. He buys for a few different people. He buys for a couple of smaller organizations, and then he also buys for harvesters. So between I sell to him, and he takes them and either sells them to fur harvesters, or he sells them to other smaller markets that he has. And then there's some stuff I do tan a few things each year, some for personal collection, and some it and can it and try and sell it myself.
So, when you're canine trapping, how do you do your remakes? I know a lot of guys will pull up their trap and move it to the edge of the, away from the catch circle on the very edge of it. How do you do your remakes?
Yeah, I always remake it right in the same spot. I don't re-lure or re-urine. That coyote or fox has left enough scent there for me. Sometimes I will throw another trap in on the outside of the catch circle or just outside, depending on the situation and the spot. But I never move my trap. I will either add a trap or just leave that one.
So do you reconstruct the set or just put your trap back in the ground and just leave it plain, just like it was?
Yeah, I reconstruct it and try and, if it's a dirt hole, I'll use the dirt hole, or if it's a post net, a lot of times the post will be ruined, and so it turns into, either a flat set or a dirt hole, so sometimes you gotta, I'll have to ad-lib it and change something a little bit, but it's always, I'm trying to make it look like a nice, clean, good set, the way I would have left it if it was before a catch.
I know our trapping mentor told us that he's been having a lot of luck by just bedding the trap right in the middle of the catch circle, right where it originally was, and not reconstructing anything. He said all he thought was just something just came and started prowling around and sniffing around, just stepped in it. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't tried that. I do see how it could work. It's definitely, another avenue to take, kind of similar to, putting one right on the outside of the catch circle, assuming that, the coyote or fox might come up to the catch circle and start sniffing around and work the perimeter and maybe, getting that one. So, yeah, putting one right in the middle, I could see how that would work. Might be something I'd try in the future.
So, what do you do to keep your traps from freezing in the ground? Because I know a lot of you guys up north get a whole ton of snow, so I always wondered how y'all kept your footholds running when you've got those kind of really bad weather conditions like that.
Yeah. Speaking of snow, we just got 8 inches last night, and now it's 50 degrees outside, so we got a mess outside right now. But battling the weather, snow, freeze, and thaw conditions during the season, it's continuous. And so I use a mixture of wax dirt and peat moss. We also use a lot of anthill dirt. We've got really big anthills around here, and so during the summer I'll go out and search for anthills with 5-gallon buckets and a shovel and a sifter, and I'll go after a bunch of anthills because ants put a natural wax in their dirt, and that's about as good as natural trap covering as you could get.
So are you an interstate trapper?
I'm not. I definitely would like to be. I know that I've talked to one of my testers there that's out in Illinois, and he's invited me to come out next season and do some trapping with him, go after some canines after I'm done here in Maine. And so that might be a possibility. I would definitely love to be able to bounce around to a couple places and try some of these other states and see. I know that that these Maine coyotes can be a challenge, and it's one of those things where once you are successful catching quite a few, it's like what's the next challenge? So that to me would be move on to another state and try and catch some somewhere else. So yeah, I would definitely like to do some trapping in some other states, other parts of the country for sure.
So how do you prepare before season? What is your advice for our listeners? What can they do outside of the season to get ready for the season so they'll be able to catch more fur during the season?
I think just trap prep is a big deal. Going through all your traps, making sure all your welds are good, all your J hooks are clipped tight. Weld them if you want. Dye, wax, or whatever your process might be. But I think it's big doing all that. Getting it done ahead of time. And another big thing is, say, for young new trappers, or not even necessarily young, just anybody looking to get into it. Practice bedding traps. Bedding traps is one of, if not the most trap's not solid and you can't bed a trap, and then you're going to have a time. Yes, you might catch something, but if you can bed solidly, then your catch rate's going to go up. You're going to have better catches.
So, how do you, what's your method of prepping your traps? Do you wax and dye, or do you just use a trap dip?
Yep, I'm a wax and dye type of guy as far as my footholds, all my land footholds. On, say, a conibear, I'm, spray painting or a dip. I'm not opposed to either of those, but as far as canine traps, it's definitely wax and dye. It's just, tried and true. It's the way my father and grandfather always did it, and it's always worked. I'm not opposed to some of these other ways. I know that full metal jacket, some guys swear by that, but it's just wax and dye is what works for me.
So have you ever tried to make your own dye?
I haven't. Nope. I use the dark logwood dye. That's what I use.
So do you, when you make a catch, do you pull up your trap and retreat it before you put it back in the ground?
Nope. I always just leave it, reuse it. I've never had an issue with it. It's the way I was taught. I guess it's all, like you had mentioned a few minutes ago, you've got a mentor. So my mentor was my father and my grandfather, and so it's just I kind of always just have done things the way they do. Obviously, I try some different things and do some different my own things along the way. But no, I mean, as far as that, it's it's just I always just remade it right where it is, and I catch a skunk, I remake it. I catch coyotes on traps that I've caught skunks in quite a few times. Usually, after I catch a skunk in a trap, I say, it's only a matter of time before I catch a coyote. That's just the way it works. So I don't see where that smell has ever been an issue for me. I do know that if I were to pull a trap that has caught something in it, and then I go into another spot and set a trap, I will go for a new, clean, untouched trap before I reset a used trap.
Okay, so, what is how long do you test your lures before you release them?
Well, K1 is the one that I had, out this year. A bunch of guys had it, and I ran it on my line. That's kind of the one that got me started in, wanting to do this as a business, because that was the first one that I really sent out and had more people test other than just here on me, my father, and my grandfather's lines. And so that's the one that, I used it here on my line, had great success on it this year. Obviously limited, use because it's just my line, and we did use it a little bit up north, and I used it down in the southern part of the state, and I had great results with it. And not just catches, but a lot of action on any set that may not have connected too. And so that's when I said, hey, maybe I think I might have something here. And so that's when I got in touch with a few guys, put the word out on a couple of them, the trap pages on Facebook, and had some guys, reach out and said, hey, I'd love to test it for you. And so I sent it out to them, and geez, I really got some great results. And these guys are, really liking it. I know that you've got a bottle of the K1, and it's a squeeze type, and a lot of people are really liking that. And it's really a good product. It doesn't catch junk. It's not too powerful, but it's the right smells.
Yes, sir. We took it out. We weren't able to use it much this past season, but I took it out and I put it out at a remake where I caught a skunk, and I had a deer came in. He snapped the trap, but then we were expecting. We just had a big rain, and I was gonna wait for a few days for the dirt to dry out so I could get the remake done. And I came in the day I was going to remake it, and there's coyote tracks. Came right up to it. They went all around the catch circle, and then they started scratching up around the hole. So
go ahead.
So we've had that good reaction, and then I tried that out our dog. I just made a little punch hole, put some down it. She didn't like me watching her, so I left, and I came back the next day, and there was a crater there where that little punch hole was, and manure right in the middle of the hole. So.
Yep. Yep. That's the reaction that I've seen, and I've gotten on using it on my line, and that's the reaction that a lot of the guys testing it got. Was they want it. They want to get at it. It creates a great digging reaction, and it definitely, like I said, I can't wait for this upcoming season when I get it out there to a lot more guys and see what it can really do, because I know it's a great lure, and I've got some other good things that I'll have out at the beginning of the season with some more being tested, and there'll be more to come. I'm not looking to do any huge extravagant line of lures. I'm gonna stick to a few that I know that work and go from there.
So so do you do any like trapping? What would you call them? Like trapping challenges or man.
Oh, like the contest, like for getting coyotes and stuff. How some states do that.
Yes, sir.
No, we don't have anything like that around here. It's just so I've never had the chance to get into anything like that. Just not anything that's offered in my area.
So do you do predator calling?
I've done it a few times. Went up north to my camp and set out, did some calling in the wintertime, and I don't know. It's not as interesting to me as trapping and that aspect of it. It was a lot of downtime, and as far as sitting there waiting, and don't get me wrong, I'm fine with sitting in the woods and waiting. I love deer hunting, and that's what a lot of that is, sitting around waiting. But no, it doesn't interest me as much as trapping. Once you've caught a coyote in a foothold, it's just not the same as say shooting one at 100 plus yards or whatever. It's the ultimate satisfaction is catching a coyote in a foothold, I think.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I always kind of thought along the same lines. I mean, when you're using a foothold, you've got to make that animal come in, commit to your set, and step in a little 2-inch circle. But if you've got a call, you can call them in from hundreds of yards around, and then they only have to come to about a 200-yard radius, and you can just bam. So
exactly, and that's kind of the way that I always explain it to a lot of people. It's a challenge. That's why I enjoy doing it. It's a challenge. Not only is going after predators, it helps the deer, the turkey, all the small game around, but it's a challenge. And trying to make a coyote step in, like you said, a little 2-inch, 3-inch round circle when they could go anywhere is. I mean, if anybody just thinks about it, they can see the challenge in that, and that's why it's so satisfying when you come around a corner and you got a coyote or a fox sitting there bouncing around in the trap. I tell you, it's like Christmas. Every set you pull up to is like Christmas.
Yes, sir. So, y'all have more red fox or gray fox up there in Maine?
In the northern part of the state, there are no grays. I mean, I guess I can't say none. Just they are few and far between. You never see them. My father, myself, my grandfather have never caught a gray fox in the northern part of the state, but there are a good population of reds. In the southern part of the state, there's a healthy population of each. I caught in my small line just around, when I've got my southern main line, it's just around town, within, just a few miles of my house, basically. And I caught 8 red fox just within a couple miles of my house. And I caught 3 grays this year, and so there are grays around, but they're definitely not as prevalent as the reds.
Yes, sir. So your favorite trap for the fox is the MB450, you said?
Yep. If I'm setting a specific fox set, absolutely. MB450s. I don't think there's a better fox trap out there.
So do you run with the offset or closed jaw traps?
I use offset. All my traps are offset, John. And on anything other than an MB trap, outside laminations and all that.
Yes, sir. So, how do you stake your traps? Are you an old rebar guy?
I am old school. I roll with rebar. I'm mostly trapping out of my truck when I can. There are some sets that I've got to walk into, so I'm carrying a pack basket full of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely had to make a couple trips back to the truck because I forgot something before. But I'm mostly trapping from a truck, so that's why I don't see rebar as a lot of guys. That's their complaint is they don't like hauling rebar around. But I don't know. I just like it. I can pull them easy. It's just old school, It's the way I was taught by my father and my grandfather, so that's the way I've always run.
So do you run long chains on your traps?
I don't. I run at least 3 swivel points. By Maine state law, you have to have 3 swivel points. One has to be at the base plate, one has to be mid-chain, and one has to be at your anchoring point. And so with the 3 swivels and chain, I'm looking at right around a foot total, maybe just over. I like a short chain. I don't want to give them any room to get any run so that they can pull or pump that trap.
Yes, sir. So, it also cuts down on your expenses. I mean, you don't have to pay for as much chain, and if you got real long chain, the animal's gonna damage your trap and himself if you don't have a shock spring in there. So.
Yep, exactly.
So I guess that's just about all we've got for you today. As always, we're going to do a little ending announcement. If you'd like to say anything before you leave, give some advice, put some advice out there for our listeners or anything.
Yeah, for anybody that's looking to get into trapping, I say the best thing you could do is hook up with a trapper or your local trapping club and talk to somebody. Go out on their line with them. Practice beds and traps. That's the best thing you can do for anybody that's looking to get into it or wants to get better at trapping. I've had, since I've started, I've got my page, Young's Bait and Lure Co. on Facebook, and so I've had people come to me with questions and ask for advice on stuff, and I might not answer right away, but I'm usually an open book. I'll give you, any info that I might have or my insight, and so anybody can reach out, send me a message on the Young's Bait and Lure Co. page, and definitely try my stuff. This year I'll have a few things out, and definitely more to come. And I'll be doing some contests here coming up as the season gets close, and I'll be also looking for a couple more guys to do some testing for me.
So the best way for any potential customers to contact you would be through your Facebook page?
Through my Facebook page. They can email me or message me on there. My phone number is also on the page. I'm going to be working on a website, but it might not be up in time for the season. But yeah, right now, check me out on Facebook, and all my contact info is right on there.
So thank you for being with us today, Mr. Young. I really enjoyed our talk.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, and I really enjoyed the program. And hey, you ever want to have me back? I'll be happy to do it.
Alrighty. So thank you for being with us today.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.